Street is about -2 degrees Celsius. Oxford Street, London. On our way to Venice Street. Emma. There's Emma, there's young Harris. Still about -2 degrees. This is Oxford near the railway station. One of the main streets in Oxford. Main street in Oxford. Main intersection in Oxford. Stopped for lunch at a halal Indian restaurant in centre of Oxford. Dal, chicken curry, lamb curry, fried rice, salad. This is the University College Church. Looking down High Street, the main road in Oxford. This is a plaque to commemorate Robert Boyle, who discovered Boyle's law, made experiments with an air pump design by his assistant Robert Cook. Between 1655 and 1668, discovered the law. Oxford is more than 750 years old. University College, the oldest college, was built in 1249 AD, more than 750 years ago. This is the entrance to University College, built in 1249, over 750 years ago. This is the entrance to another one of the colleges, built in 1450 AD. Makes it 550 years old. The Oxford City Council and the Sheldonian Theatre next to it. Quite amazing buildings, all around 500 to 700 years old. One of the tour buses operating around Oxford. This is Balliol College, which was founded in 1260, and outside these gates in 1555 two ministers were burnt at the stake for rejecting the doctrine of the Catholic Church. This is the canal where the Oxford Line trains gets annually. Fantastic country. Pretty shitty old canal.
Is that for 8 hours?
He does that for 2 hours on, 4 hours off.
For 2 days.
That's where they do 37 of Shakespeare's plays in an hour and 45 minutes. And that's done by an American company. It's been going, I think, about 7 years now. They also, I think, do matinees there of the complete... if the bus moved out the way and you look down there to the left, you'd be looking down to Big Ben. Big Ben is part of the Houses of Parliament. So the spot just there where that bus is, the politicians. So there's Big Ben. They're executed. And he was executed for going into Parliament without being invited. If only Blair would make that mistake. Free tours, free lectures there. Two big embassies here. Back that way is Canada, this side of us here is South Africa.
How's Tony doing right now?
What is what? Tony, my mate's there at lunchtimes. Main road in front of us, Charing Cross Road, lots of bookshops along here. 300 metres, 300 yards up there is the British Museum, the top museum in London. That's the one with all the Egyptian rooms, with all the mummies. Also in there you've got the Greek rooms with the Elgin marbles. London Transport Museum. Lots of restaurants here, right in front of us. I don't know how to pronounce it. Papagino's? Is it Papagino's?
Papaganas.
Papaganas. Who was Papagana? Come on.
Italian?
I think he might have been an Italian. He's the main, one of the main characters in the opera The Magic Flute. 6, the fire of London. The fire destroyed 80% of the city. Main architect who rebuilt the churches was Sir Christopher Wren. This is the first of his churches we're going to see. This is called St Clement Danes. On the wall of St Clement Danes there you can see where it was hit by a bomb during the Second World War. And that, as I say, was the third event. About 1/3 of the city of London destroyed during the war. Most of the residential population of London left London during the war. They moved out to the suburbs and to the countryside. Once the war finished, they didn't return. And then the bomb sites in London have since then been developed into office blocks, which is how London has now become the financial area. There's problems with the lease, I think, so that no one wants to take on the lease, so until it actually expires, nothing will happen. Used to be a major tourist attraction, probably had, I don't know, 20, 30 tourist coaches, but it gives you a good idea of how the whole of London would have looked. Threat of murder would have been brought here to be executed. If you confessed and admitted the murder, you would be executed and then burnt alive. If you didn't confess, you would be burnt alive. So that all happened there. Lots of people burnt alive there at the stake.
The tour bus in front of St Paul's Cathedral. It's undergoing renovation. Largest and one of the oldest cathedrals in London.
Top, don't worry, we'll see it from the right hand side a little later on. Come across. Good views to the left as we come across here, down to the most famous of all the bridges over the Thames, which is Tower Bridge. So there's Tower Bridge. That's the bridge that opens up to allow sailing boats to bring their cargoes into London.
That's the Tower Bridge, London. Tower of London in the back. Tower Bridge, London. It's the 2nd of January 2004. And in the background is the Tower of London.
With that in mind, anyone got any names for the building on the horizon over there?
The Fabergé. It's like Fabergé.
It's called the Swiss Bank. Yeah, Canary Wharf, those ones with the little pyramid on the top of it. But most important, building London Eye. Notice the dragons we're just coming up to here, which will signify that here we're crossing out of London and back into Westminster. To me, it makes Big Ben look really very small.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, they've given it a license, has all the modern buildings in it, even though it's supposedly the older city, basically because of the far south side of the river here. These concrete buildings are the South Bank Arts Centre. Concert halls here, holds I think it's about 30 people.
And the wheel is in Westminster.
No, the wheel is not here. We're
Big Ben. House of Parliament. House of Lords and the House of Commons. Big Ben on the right hand side. The bridge across the Thames.
I was thinking, she's not used to go back in the certain time.
Up in front of us, number 4, that is the headquarters of the Liberal Democrats, which is the third political party in the country. They hardly get any of the vote. But this is a lovely little street here. Didn't have that van parked down it. This is to my mind really how Downing Street should look. When we get to Downing Street, it's really rather disappointing. These are real people who circle on a wall. It means that someone famous has lived there. Here on the left is where Lawrence of Arabia lived. See, that's all this rubbish he's chucked out. Building right in front of us now is part of Westminster Abbey. We're going to go round to the front of it. This is in fact it. Okay, we'll stop for long then. We'll do a long stop. Hull of architecture. Notice the section with the sloping roof here. As I say, that's the older section, the original.
This is Westminster Abbey. And the White Arch is where Princess Di's body was brought for her funeral. Just behind that bus. Whoever took the coffin into the Westminster Abbey for the burial. The cloister, the monument opposite Westminster Abbey. The entrance where they brought Princess Di's body for the funeral. This is a view of Big Ben from Westminster Abbey. Big Ben situation at Parliament House. This is a protest outside Parliament House. Protesting against the war. War in Iraq. Statue of Churchill outside Parliament House. From Parliament House looking across towards Westminster Abbey in the distance. There's a crowd of people lined up for the quite expensive to go in. Westminster Abbey, £16, or at the moment around $40 Australian. Bought the 11 bits, set my watch. My watch is slow.
So he's looking for a year of bad luck, isn't he? So it's at the end on the right. And that's been the London residence of the Prime Minister since 1735. The gates here were put up while Mrs. Thatcher was Prime Minister back in the 1990s. When you see number 10 on TV, the press people are allowed in, they just film it from directly opposite. The guards on duty at the moment in their dark blue uniforms. These are the Queen's, these are actually, I'll get that right in a minute, these are the lifeguards, I'll get that right in the end.
And the horses just stand?
Yeah, each individual sentry and his horse do 1 hour on duty and then 2 hours off duty.
This is outside Buckingham Palace. We're here to see the changing of the guard. That's the Queen Victoria Monument. Changing of the guard takes about 1 hour each day. Starts at 11:10. The old guard comes out and the new guard comes in. The new guard is led by the band. Big crowd of thousands of people watching, changing the guard. It's a monument outside Buckingham Palace. Australia's emblem. Outside Buckingham Palace, waiting for the changing of the guard. Changing the guard of this house. New guard going in.
Wellington's there on his horse, Copenhagen. Back behind us, I don't know if you can see the sort of the grey slates right back behind us. That's the brand new Australian
War Memorial opened by John Howard.
No, I'm fine.
and they're going back to their barracks at the moment, which are in Knightsbridge. So they'll get off their horses and go straight into Harrods for a bit of shopping. Owned nowadays by Mohammed Al Fayed, whose son Dodi died in the accident with Diana. There is a Diana and Dodi memorial in the basement of Harrods. It's the only one in London.